Hey everyone, my name is Sovraka, and I'm here to bring you guys a Kalphite Queen guide. This guide was suggested to me by a friend named Sky Dragon. He said he was having a little bit of difficulties fighting the Kalphite Queen, so I thought I'd put together this guide to help him and some other people who might be having some difficulties with it. So, let's get started. So to start off the guide, I'm going to tell you guys a little bit about the Kalphite Queen and what she's about. Her combat level on the live game right now is currently 200, and on the beta it is 333. Her stats include 40,000 life points and 70 attack, 70 defense, 70 range, and 70 magic. She attacks using all the combat styles with a max hit of 980 in all the styles. Her attack speed is about 1 attack per 2.6 seconds. She doesn't have any weaknesses, she's not immune to poison, but she is immune to stun. The Kalphite Queen is highly aggressive and will attack any player regardless of their combat level. Per kill, the Kalphite Queen will award the player with 985 combat experience, along with 325 constitution experience, and if you're on a Slayer task, she'll award you with 1347 Slayer experience. The Kalphite Queen is a Kalphite, and due to that, she can be assigned by Maxna, I don't think I'm pronouncing that correctly, or during the quest While Gothic Sleeps, he will be replaced by Actrian. Kalphite can also be assigned by Chaldar, Sumona, Duradel, or Lapalok if you've completed While Gothic Sleeps, and Kuradel. The Kalphite Queen may also be assigned by Sumona as a special task. Some things to note about the Kalphite Queen before you initiate a battle with her is that she does have two phases. Her first form will be immune to magic and ranged attacks, while her second form will be immune to melee attacks, and both forms will use the same attack style, having the same max hits. So be sure to bring a combat style switch. According to the RuneScape Wikia, her ranged and magic attacks also have the ability to bounce to other players in the room, meaning that she can damage all the players inside the room using just one attack. These attacks, however, cannot turn corners. Her ranged attacks also cannot go through herself. She is immune to leech curses and will destroy dwarf multi-cannons if you set them up in the room. However, if you do use leech curses, your stats will be boosted, and you will get a message telling you that the enemy's stats have been drained. However, obviously her stats won't be drained. As far as equipment goes, I would suggest bringing your best melee gear for when you're using melee, and when switching to range or mage, depending on which one you use, you're going to want to bring your best switch for that set as well. My recommended gear would have to be War Priest. I love War Priest, I use it for everything. If you have the Mighty Slayer helm, I would recommend to bring that, as it is a great all-around helm. If you have a skill cape, I would recommend bringing one, as it does give a bonus to all combat styles. For necklaces, you can bring an Amulet of Glory or an Amulet of Fury if you have one. For your ring slot, I like to use a Ring of Wealth, but you might want to use a Berserker Ring or a Tokkul Zo if you have one, but that's really up to you, to be honest. For melee equipment, I would recommend bringing Bandos, maybe Guthans if you want to use that for a little bit more tanking damage. Or if you have Dragon, that would work great as well. If it comes down to it, you can use Runite. You will take a little bit more extra damage, however, simply because of the less defensive bonuses that Runite has. For a melee weapon, I would bring the best weapon that you have. That could be a God Sword if you have that. That could be a Dragon Two-Hand if you have that. Or if you have anything better, I would recommend bringing those. For this demonstration, I'm going to be using Dragor Longswords, just to make the kills a little bit quicker, and just to give you guys the gist of what it's like to fight the Kalphite Queen. For a range setup, I would recommend using Royal Dragonhide, as the defensive bonuses of Royal Dragonhide is actually really good. As far as weapons are concerned for ranged, I would bring the best crossbow you have, whether that be two-handed crossbow or dual-wielded crossbow. If you have the requirements for a royal crossbow, I would recommend bringing that. If you have the requirements but you're having a little bit of difficulty brandishing your royal crossbow, I do have a brandishing guide that you can view right here. There are some pretty neat tricks on there. I also will be uploading a new video that will outline some more tips and tricks on the Queen Black Dragon to help you negate as much damage as you possibly can when fighting the QBD, which can make trips last a little bit longer, and it will also help you brandish your royal crossbow for the first time if you are having difficulties. For Mage Gear, I would recommend bringing Ganodermic even over Arams, as Ganodermic does have very good stats, and it is a little bit cheaper than Arams. And as for a magic weapon, I would recommend bringing either a Polypore Staff or a Staff of Light if you have one of those. Or if you have an Armadillo Battle Staff, I would definitely recommend bringing that. If you have anything better, of course, I would definitely recommend to bring that. As far as an inventory setup goes, I would recommend bringing at least one super restore potion. You could bring a prayer renewal flask if you like, but it might not be needed, to be honest. Have your weapon switch in your inventory along with the best food that you can use for your constitution level, and of course bring an emergency teleport because you never know when things are going to get hairy. If you have a level 52 summoning for Spirit Terrorbird, I would recommend bringing one and filling it with the best food that you can use. Or if you have 68 summoning for War Tortoise, I would definitely recommend bringing that instead. So right before we go heading off to the Kalphite Queen's lair, I'm going to tell you guys some of her most noteworthy drops. She does have a chance at dropping the Dragon Two-Handed Sword, which is valued at almost 1 mil, and she also has a chance at dropping the Dragon Chain Body, which is worth 1.8 mil at the moment. She also has a chance at dropping a hard and elite clue scroll along with a Kalphite Queen head, which you can mount in your player own house. Okay, now heading off to the Kalphite Queen's lair, if you've never been there before, then you're going to want to head to Shanty's Pass, and once you get there, talk to Shanty, scroll down the inventory there, and you're going to want to pick up 2 ropes, because you're going to need a one-time use of 2 ropes to climb down into the cave. Once you have that, you can just head out into the desert and then head west. As you're going to see, there is a fairy ring right there, and you can use the fairy ring code BIQ that will teleport you there if you have completed Fairy Tale Part 2. If you did end up getting there fast enough, you will reach the cave entrance without taking any damage from the desert. As soon as you get here, you're going to want to use your rope on the entrance there. As you can see, I've already done that, so I don't need to, and then you can head down into the lair. And then you're just going to appear in this almost sort of maze type looking place, and you're just going to want to head down to where I'm going here. Be wary though, there are monsters in here that are aggressive, so just be careful of that. Once you reach this zone here, you're going to want to use the second rope that you have and use it on this little hole in the ground here, and that will allow you to climb down into the Kalphite Queen's cave. As soon as you head down into the cave, you are in a spot that you are actually safe from the other monsters that are aggressive in this area. However, if the Kalphite Queen does end up deciding to come this way, she will be aggressive towards you and she will hit you with her mage and ranged attacks, so just be careful of that. Once you're ready, you can just head over to the west here and you will find the Kalphite Queen. One thing that you are going to want to note is that once you do find the Kalphite Queen, you're going to want to get yourself in a spot that you're in between her and her minions, so that you don't have to take damage from them as well as tank the Kalphite Queen. So this is the first phase, and she is immune to magic and range, so you will be using your melee setup here. Just fight her as you would any other normal monster. There's nothing quite special about her. However, there is a little trick I can give you guys to help reduce some of the damage taken. When she shoots a lightning bolt at you, she will be using her mage attack. So when you see that, I would recommend praying against magic. And when it looks like she's shooting a bunch of darts at you, that will be her ranged attack. So at that point, I would recommend praying range. Say for example, the Kalphite Queen starts off attacking you using a magic attack. I would recommend using Protect from Magic, as that will help reduce some of the damage taken. She will use each attack style for around 3 to 4 hits each, so it is kind of predictable to, let's say, for the first 3 or 4 hits pray against magic, and then you can switch to range when you notice her using her ranged attacks, and that will help reduce some of the damage a little bit. Heal when needed. You do not want to get down to a very low amount of HP, because her magic and ranged attacks will hit you 100% of the time, so if you're overconfident, she might just wipe you. Once the first phase is over, switch over to your other weapon set and put on your second set of armor if you brought a switch. Also in the second phase, she will also start to summon aggressive level 84 Kalphite workers, so remember to just try to get between you and her if you possibly can. If not, then don't worry about it too much, just remember to keep an eye on your health and don't let yourself get too low. And once again start whittling away her HP. She does seem to give you a little bit more difficulty during this phase, so just be careful of that. And once you're finished with that kill, pick up your drops, and if you're done with your Slayer assignment, then you can just teleport away. Otherwise, you can just wait for her to respawn. The spot where you climb down the rope to enter the Kalphite Queen's cave is a good spot to wait for her to respawn if you do plan on doing that, as the other Kalphite in that room are not able to reach you at that area. She will take a few minutes to respawn, however, so just be aware of that. And that's going to wrap up the guide for today, guys. I hope it did help you. If any of you are struggling with the Kalphite Queen, or if you know somebody who is, then be sure to share this video with them. If you do have any suggestions for future videos, then be sure to let me know, and I'll do my best to make those happen. Alright, see you later, guys.